Mina woke up to the soft sound of humming machines. Warm light from a lantern filled the medical tent. For a moment she thought she was dreaming, because the blanket covering her was soft like clouds and the air smelled clean. Then she turned and saw Lyra sleeping beside her on a small chair, her head resting on her arms. Mina slowly sat up. Her stomach no longer hurt. Her throat wasn't dry. She felt weak but not dying anymore. She touched Lyra's arm gently. Lyra opened her eyes at once, like she had been waiting for that touch all night. When she saw Mina awake, a smile spread across her tired face. "You're okay," Lyra whispered, trying not to cry. Mina nodded. Did the humans do this?" Lyra looked around slowly. A human nurse was nearby, checking a device with moving lights. She glanced at them and smiled kindly. "Yes," Lyra said softly. "They helped us." Mina seemed unsure. "Are they going to take you away?" Lyra shook her head. "No. They said they do not take payment for saving a child." Mina frowned in confusion. "But why?" Lyra looked at her for a long moment, then whispered, "I don't know." Soon after, Commander Ethan entered the tent. He carried 2 bowls of warm porridge. He placed them on a small metal table beside the bed. "Morning," he said in a calm voice. Lyra stood quickly. "Commander Ethan." "Thank you." He waved a hand. "No need for thanks, just eat. Both of you." Mina hesitantly picked up the spoon and took a small bite. Her eyes went wide. "It's sweet," she exclaimed. Ethan chuckled. "Yes, with honey." Lyra watched Mina eat with joy. She turned to Ethan. "Commander, I still want to work. I will help you. Clean dishes. Carry boxes, anything." Ethan looked at her carefully. "You don't owe me anything." "I know," Lyra replied. "But I want to help. Others outside are still hungry. I want them to be safe too." Ethan nodded slowly. "If you wish to help, I will not stop you." That day, Lyra began assisting in the camp. She helped in the kitchen, washing bowls and handing food to others. She was quiet but focused. Some aliens passing by watched her with suspicion. They thought she had bowed to the humans like a servant. Lyra ignored their looks. She knew why she was here. Mina stayed in the medical area, slowly getting stronger each day. She often peeked outside the tent, watching humans and aliens working side by side. Some aliens were helping carry supplies. Others were fixing old wells with human tools. But not everyone was happy. Later in the evening, Lyra walked back to the medical tent. She stopped when she heard voices from behind a broken wall nearby. "They're lying," one alien said. His tone was angry. "Humans never give anything for free." Another responded, whispering, "But they gave food." "Tricks," the first one hissed. "Once we depend on them, they'll chain us." Lyra recognized the second voice. It was Varn, a young alien man who used to live near their old home. He had always been loud but kind. Now he sounded scared. "We should take their supplies before they take our planet," the angry one said. "They have crates full of food near the west gate." "Tonight we strike," Lyra's heart pounded. They wanted to steal from the humans. If that happened, humans might defend themselves. People would get hurt. Maybe Ethan would stop helping. She knew she couldn't stay silent. She stepped out from behind the wall. "Don't do it," she said firmly. The 2 aliens jumped, startled. Varn stared at her in surprise. "Lyra, you're working with them?" "I am helping them," she corrected. The other alien, a tall man with scars on his face, narrowed his eyes. "So you sold yourself to them?" Lyra felt anger rise in her chest. "I did not sell myself. I offered my hand so my sister would live, and they helped without asking anything in return." The scarred man scoffed. "You're blind. Humans are snakes. They smile before they bite." Lyra stepped closer, her voice steady. "Did they bite when they gave medicine to the children? Did they bite when they fixed the water pipe in the East District? Did they bite when they saved my sister?" The man hesitated but stayed stubborn. "Kindness today, chains tomorrow. If you steal from them, you will be the one putting chains on us," Lyra shot back. "They are helping. If you strike them, they will leave. And then what? Will you feed the children? Will you heal the sick?" Varn looked at the ground. The scarred man clenched his teeth. Lyra continued softer now. "We were dying. They came with hope. Don't destroy it." The scarred man glared, but his anger was shaking. Finally, he grunted and turned away. "Believe what you want, but don't stand in our way." He left into the darkness. Varn stayed a moment longer. "Lyra, maybe you're right. he whispered. But people are scared. They don't trust humans. They don't have to trust, Lyra said gently. They only have to watch. Humans speak through actions. Varn nodded slowly and walked away. Lyra sighed deeply, then headed back to Mina. The next day, Ethan called Lyra to his tent. He looked serious. I heard you stopped a fight last night, he said. Lyra blinked. How did you? Soldiers saw, he said. Thank you, Lyra bowed her head. I didn't want anyone to get hurt. Ethan nodded. He was silent for a moment, then asked, Lyra, will you help me speak to your people? I want them to understand our mission. Lyra's eyes widened. Me? You have their respect, Ethan said. Or at least, their ears. Lyra took a deep breath. I will try. That evening, Ethan set up a large table in the center of the ruins. Lamps were lit around it so everyone could see. He stood beside Lyra. Mina sat close, wrapped in a blanket. Slowly, aliens gathered. Some came out of curiosity. Some came with anger. Some came because they heard food would be handed out afterward. Ethan looked at Lyra, letting her speak first. Lyra stepped forward. Her hands trembled slightly, but her voice was strong. I used to believe humans were monsters, she began. Stories told us they were cruel. But when I begged for food for my sister, they didn't take me away. They didn't enslave me. They helped. She pointed at Mina. Look at her. She was dying. Now she lives because they chose kindness instead of power. Some aliens murmured softly. Ethan then spoke. We came to rebuild water lines, give medical care, and share food, he said clearly. We won't stay forever. This is your home. But while we are here, we want to help you stand again. A voice shouted from the crowd. Why, what do you gain? Ethan answered calmly. Nothing. Sometimes, doing the right thing is enough. Silence followed. For a long moment, no one moved. Then Varn walked forward and placed a broken spear on the ground in front of Ethan. We don't want to fight, he said, but we also don't want pity. If you will help us, then let us work beside you, not behind you. Ethan nodded firmly. Agreed. From that day, everything changed. Humans and aliens began rebuilding together. Lyra helped organize food lines so no one pushed or fought. Varn led a team to repair roofs using human tools. Even the scarred man from before came quietly one morning and started moving crates without speaking. Mina grew stronger each day. She began helping in the medical tent, handing out bandages and smiling at everyone who came. Sometimes she would sit beside Ethan and ask silly questions. Do humans have 3 suns on their planet? No, just one. Do you eat rocks? Only when the food is bad. Mina laughed so loudly that even the soldiers smiled. One afternoon, as Lyra and Ethan stood watching workers build a new water pump, Ethan said, You know, we plan to leave after 1 cycle, but maybe we will stay longer. Lyra looked at him. To help more, he nodded. If you will have us. Lyra smiled, a real smile full of warmth. You are already part of this place. Ethan looked thoughtful. When I first landed, I thought I was bringing hope. But now I see, hope was already here. It was in people like you. Lyra felt her chest tighten, but in a good way. For so long, she had only known pain, hunger, and fear. Now, for the first time, she felt something different. She felt safe. That night, as the stars shone above Veralis 9, Lyra sat beside Mina outside the tent. Mina leaned against her, sleepy but happy. Sister, Mina said softly, do you think tomorrow will be better too? Lyra looked at the humans and aliens working around the campfire laughing together. Yes, she whispered. Tomorrow will be better, because we are not alone anymore. Mina smiled and closed her eyes. Lyra looked at the stars and made a silent promise to protect this new peace with everything she had. For the first time in her life, the future did not look like darkness, it looked like dawn. The night was stormy when the council members carried the newborn child to the cliff. Lightning flashed across the violet sky of planet Zareth, showing their faces twisted with fear. The baby girl was silent, staring at them with bright silver eyes. Strange, glowing blue markings ran along her arms and neck, patterns no royal child had ever been born with. To some, she was a miracle. To others, she was a curse. She is not normal. One of the older council members whispered shakily, if she grows up with this power, she may destroy us. She must disappear, said another. The queen must never know what happened. We say she died at birth. Before anyone could speak again, the man lifted the infant high and threw her into the roaring river below. The baby did not cry. She fell quietly, vanishing into the darkness. The river swallowed her without leaving a trace. They thought the story ended there, but stories like these never end so easily. The river carried the baby far through rocky valleys, broken forests, and thick swamps. She should have drowned, but fate refused. She floated into the arms of an old, dying beast, an enormous wolf-like creature with fur like silver mist. It had no pups of its own. With a weak breath, it pulled the baby onto dry land and curled around her. It kept her warm until the storm faded. Then the beast died, leaving the child beside its body. The baby woke hungry. She could not walk. She could not speak. But something inside her glowed brighter with every breath. The blue markings lit up whenever she cried, and small insects came close, strangely comforted by her energy. Birds dropped berries near her. Curious animals curled beside her for warmth. The wild had accepted her. Years passed. The girl grew strong. She learned to walk, run, and climb without ever hearing a single word. She did not know language, but she knew sounds. She understood which growl meant anger and which chirp meant warning. She did not understand names, so she had none. She did not understand loneliness, for the forest itself seemed alive beside her. She hunted with stone and stick. She slept in trees when rain poured. She learned that some creatures were dangerous, but most respected her glowing markings. Whenever she was frightened, her body lit up like the moon and animals backed away. She did not know what she was. She simply survived. Meanwhile, far away in human territory, a young pilot named Ethan was fixing the broken engine of his small supply ship. He was calm, quiet, and always willing to help others. He was not rich, not powerful, but he had the kind of heart that made strangers trust him within minutes. People often told him he was too kind for his own safety. One morning, Ethan received a request to deliver medical crates to a small alien village near the restricted lands of Zareth. Many pilots refused to fly near that region due to strange energy storms. Ethan accepted without hesitation. He believed no one should be left without help. His ship glided smoothly through pink clouds until a sudden burst of lightning struck one wing. Alarms blared. Smoke filled the cockpit. Ethan fought for control, but the ship spun wildly and crashed into the dense forest. His head hit the control panel, but luckily, he survived with minor bruises. He grabbed supplies, checked the damaged hull inside. Great, now I'm lost. He activated his distress beacon, but he knew help would take days. Until then, he needed water, food, and shelter. He walked deeper into the woods, scanning his surroundings carefully. The forest was unlike anything he had seen. Trees twisted like spirals. Flowers hummed low, gentle sounds, and distant roars echoed across the land. It was both beautiful and frightening. Ethan kept moving, remembering his training. Suddenly, he froze, a scream. Not human, not animal either. It was sharp, broken, and full of fear. He dropped his supplies and ran toward the sound without thinking. He reached a rocky clearing where 3 robotic probes hovered around a girl. No, a young alien woman. Her hair was tangled and long, her skin pale with shining blue markings across her arms. She backed against a boulder holding a makeshift spear. She looked wild, like a cornered animal. The probe scanned her with red beams. A robotic voice echoed. Target possesses unstable energy signature. Container eliminate. One of the probes fired a net. Without hesitation, Ethan grabbed a rock and threw it with full force, striking the drone. It spun sideways. He rushed between the machines and the girl, arms spread wide. Stop! Leave her alone! He shouted. The probe scanned him. Unidentified human. Low threat. Step aside. Not happening, Ethan growled. The girl stared at him, confused. No one had ever stood between her and danger. Her breathing was sharp, her hand shaking with the spear. She did not understand who he was. Why would a stranger protect her? One of the drones extended a metal arm to push Ethan aside. He caught it with both hands and struggled. His arms trembled. Another drone shot a cable that wrapped around his leg, pulling him down. He gritted his teeth, refusing to let them reach her. The girl's eyes widened. She recognized something she had seen only in animals that protected their young. He was defending her, a strange warmth built in her chest. She did not think. She acted. Her blue markings blazed like lightning. The ground trembled. The air grew heavy. Ethan looked back in shock as vines burst from the soil, wrapping around the probes and crushing them like toys. Sparks flew. Metal cracked. Silence fell. The girl stood trembling, her breath heavy. Ethan slowly sat up, staring at her glowing body. She looked like a warrior from a legend. Yet her eyes were wide and scared, like a lost child. Carefully, Ethan raised both hands to show peace. "It's okay," he said softly. "I won't hurt you." The girl blinked. She tilted her head. His voice was calm, smooth, unlike anything she had heard. She did not understand the words, but she understood his tone. He slowly approached. She flinched, aiming her spear. He stopped. "Okay, no closer, see? I'm sitting." He sat on the ground to appear smaller. He reached into his bag and took out a wrapped bread. He placed it carefully on the ground between them and pushed it toward her. She sniffed the air, curious. Slowly, she approached the bread and picked it up. She took a bite and her eyes widened in surprise. Taste. She had never tasted anything like it. Ethan smiled. "Good, right?" She looked at him, then at the bread. After a moment, she tore it in half and placed the other piece near him. Ethan blinked. She was sharing. "Thank you," he said quietly. They ate in silence. A soft breeze passed between them. She kept watching him as if trying to understand what he was. When night came, Ethan gathered dry leaves and sticks to start a fire. She watched carefully. Fire roared to life. She stiffened, afraid, but Ethan placed his hand near it calmly. "It's warm, not dangerous." He extended his hand toward her slowly. She hesitated, then placed her hand near the heat. Her blue markings shimmered faintly. They sat beside the fire together. She curled her knees close to her chest, watching the flames with fascination. Ethan leaned against a rock, exhausted. "You must be alone here," he whispered softly. "How long have you been like this?" She did not answer. She didn't know she could. She only turned her head and stared at him with her glowing silver eyes. Something about him made her feel safe. The first time in her life, Ethan's gaze softened. He didn't know who she was. He didn't know why her markings glowed. But he knew one thing clearly. He could not leave her alone. As the fire crackled softly, she lay down beside him. Not too close, not too far. He glanced at her, surprised, then smiled gently. "Good night," he whispered. She blinked once, then closed her eyes. The stars above shimmered. A lost princess slept beside a human for the first time. Neither knew that by morning, everything would change.